Well, hello. Welcome to Man 4781, Sustainable Strategic Planning. This video is going to be an introduction to the course. The purpose of this course is to learn some of the unique sustainable strategic planning tools, as well as some of the traditional strategic planning tools applied to sustainable settings. This adds practical management skills to your knowledge of the natural, built, and legal environments that you've been studying in some of our other courses so that you can be a terrific sustainability manager. My name is Dr. Grinnell, also known as Dr. G. I will be co-teaching this course and the next course, Man 4783, with Dr. Weaver. You may know him from the Natural Environment course or the Energy and Environmental Techniques course. This is what we're going to be talking about. We're going to cover a little bit about the course format, the content, talk about the textbooks, what my learning philosophy is, and some of the different kinds of assignments. And finally, we'll talk a little bit about grading. First of all, it's important to note that this is a hybrid class. We meet Thursdays from 6 to 8:30. I do encourage you to come to class in person. Most students who do say they love the experience. However, we do a pretty good job of interactive teamwork via Zoom, so we can accommodate those who join us from afar, as far away as Serbia. We'll discuss each of these activities in the next slides. One note, I, Dr. G, have just had hip replacement surgery, so for several weeks, Dr. Weaver will be in the classroom and I will be joining via Zoom. He can work closely with the in-class teams and I can work with the Zoom breakout teams. When I can drive again, we may swap back and forth. Should be fun. Our goal in this course, and in the next course, 4783, if you're taking it, is training professionals in sustainability. To do that, in this course, we'll look first of all at what it takes to be a sustainable leader. What kind of internal strategies should you be implementing so that your organization is more sustainable? What are the external business environment factors that can affect the success of your sustainable initiatives? How do you do statistical analysis on the survey data that you may be gathering for your strategic plan? How do you implement sustainable change? How do you market your green initiatives? How do you implement your sustainable strategic plan? And finally, how do you implement continuous improvement? Now, for the second course, I'm only just going to cover this very briefly because not everyone is going to take this course. But if you're taking it, I recommend that you take it in Mod 2 because it takes some of the projects from this course, and then we'll take a look at all different kinds of audits, budgets, reporting, process audits, baseline audits, product audits, support audits, risk, and sustainable improvements. All of this gets you ready for the sustainability management capstone. Now, first of all, the textbook is called Sustainable Management, a complete guide for faculty and students. It's a very unique book, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun with it. For those of you who are going on to the next course, 4783, which is all of you who are in the Sustainability Management program, and I hope you've all enrolled in it, we use the same textbook for both courses. In addition to the textbook, there are weekly PDFs and video tutorials that will give you the background that you need for the ePortfolio assignment, which the first of which is due this Wednesday, and help you prepare for class on Thursday evenings. A little bit on my personal teaching and learning style. I happen to have a doctorate in instructional design, so I care a lot about you learning the material. If you look at this learning pyramid, you'll notice that if you go to a class that is pure lecture, you're probably only going to remember 5% of what was covered. I really don't do a whole lot of lecturing. You will have some how-to PDF readings and videos. in advance of class that will expose you to what we're covering in class. And then in class, I'll give a 5 to 10-minute presentation and then break you up into teams, and you'll actually practice the activities and projects in teams. The ePortfolio assignments give you some individual practice, culminating with your developing an instructional blog for others to learn from your growing expertise. This course is very much a project-oriented course. There are two types. The first is the individual portfolio. For this course, it's a series of blogs that are going to be on a sustainable business or nonprofit. The goal is to write professional, publishable blogs that can be compiled into a publishable book. Your final assessment will be an ePortfolio that will be due in week 8. For the team's assignment, you'll be using the strategic planning tools to create a real-world sustainability event. You'll be communicating to the real world using multiple channels that include presentations, charts, newsletters, websites, social media, event planning tools, and implementation. As I mentioned, the goal of the individual ePortfolio is to develop a series of educational blogs on sustainable strategic planning. We'll be covering 3 to 4 sustainability tools each week, and your job will be to write a how-to blog using a specific type of business or nonprofit as an example. The initial drafts of the blogs are due Wednesdays. You'll be using an educational blog format that includes text plus images and is usually 1,000 to 1,500 words. It will give an explanation of the sustainable tools, which includes the background and an example of how to use the tool in your choice of business or nonprofits, and then have a conclusion to the blog. Any final blogs that are scored with full points may be uploaded to a real-world blog site that we have available. The learning community feedback is due on Sundays and should include a connection to the underlying theory from the readings. These will be graded on your understanding and application of theory. The final ePortfolio is due Wednesday of week 8 and should have both individual and team projects. You'll also be creating a booklet of all of your blogs that you can take with you to share with prospective employers or clients or anyone else, or publish. Just a bit more on the ePortfolio, since you'll be doing your first one before our first class. These are the things that you should include when you're writing a draft blog. You should have a featured image of some kind, one that's intriguing. Then you also need a challenging title. That is your hook to really draw people in to read your blog. Use headings to help people follow the content of your blog, and add 1 to 3 additional images to really illustrate the tools that you are describing. Use footnotes because you don't want to be accused of plagiarism, and be sure you have a list of references that cover all your footnotes. Some ideas for the business or nonprofit. Now remember, you'll be explaining to the reader how to develop a more sustainable small business using the sustainable strategic planning tools. Pick one type of business or nonprofit that you are interested in. Some examples can include a green bed and breakfast, an organic restaurant, a renewable energy business, or some of the others that are listed here. This is not a comprehensive list. Now, you do not have to find a similar business or real business or measure anything. That's what you're going to do in Capstone if you're in the program. If you choose a nonprofit, you will also be writing your blogs to show the reader how to develop a sustainable nonprofit. And here are some ideas: a green museum, green park management, or an organization that addresses environmental cleanups, animal welfare, or health concerns, or some of the others that are listed here. The one caveat that I have on nonprofits is not to choose a protest organization, but one dedicated to performing a service, primarily because they won't lend themselves to a lot of the activities that you're learning in this course. Now let's take a look at what happens in class or on Zoom. You are the green team for the College of Business, and you're going to be developing a team strategic plan. Each team will have a different area of focus. There are two things that we do in class each week. The class activities, by and large, are completed during class and are practice on the different aspects of building a strategic plan. Then there are 4 team communications projects that are started in class but completed outside of class. In weeks 1 and 2, you'll be preparing a leadership briefing that you'll be giving to your key stakeholders in week 3. In weeks 3 and 4, you'll be creating a real-world survey and collecting data from real people and doing statistical analysis of the survey data, which you will share in week 5. In weeks 5 and 6, you'll be developing your marketing materials in order to invite the people to your event. And so you'll have a newsletter, social media posts, a website that you'll learn to develop. And then in week 7, you're developing the materials for the event. And in week 8 is the event, which takes place over the first hour of class. Here's how the course activities are graded. There are 8 class activities that are 10 points apiece, the 4 communications projects that are 25 points apiece, the 7 individual portfolio assignments and discussions that are 10 points apiece, and 1 final individual portfolio that is 25 points for a total number of points of 275. Here are a couple of common questions that we often get. The first is, what happens if I have to miss a class? Well, it depends on the reason. If you have a valid excuse, then there's makeup work that you can do. And be sure to coordinate with your teams on the teamwork. The second most frequently asked question is, what happens if someone on my team doesn't participate? Well, most of the projects will have individual contributions which are graded differentially. So you want to make sure that you identify what parts that each person did. Make sure that you submit those projects with the names of the participants on the submission, because I really don't want somebody to get credit for something that they didn't do. So I need to have an idea of who participated. If you have any other questions, please do email me. For now, I think this is it. You have your first assignment due Wednesday, the first individual e-portfolio, which is a draft blog post. We can answer more questions on Thursday, and I look forward to seeing you all via Zoom. We're going to have a heck of a good time. So have fun with this and enjoy the learning experience.